Welcome. This will be video 13 in a series of videos discussing the use of two software packages, pfod Designer and pfodApp. This will also be the last video, this video 13, where we're using an Arduino Mega 2560. We're using a Adafruit BLE Bluefruit UART module and a Adafruit 32 kilobyte RAM memory chip. We're going to be moving to a new platform for video 14. That platform is going to be an Adafruit Huza 8266 module, ESP8266. And with that module, there'll be we're going to be using straight Wi-Fi, so there'll be and there's plenty of memory available on that module as well. So we won't be using any external memory chips, just the chip itself, and communicating via Wi-Fi, so there'll be no BLE chip needed as well. This program that we're putting together today, that I'm showing today, is done on an Arduino with the the BLE chip and the external memory chip. It is going to be converted. I'm going to convert it eventually. I'm going to convert it to the Huza ESP8266 Huza chip, and we'll go from there. Now today we're going to jump straight into pfodApp, and I'm going to be using my stylus, so you'll see that the stylus touches on the screen. I'm going to select UART Mega here because I'm running this program on a 2560 Arduino Mega. This first page that pops up here, you can see the three lines down below there: view item numbers page, generate files page, and view 256 color page. In Designer, you've got the ability to gray out, just like I've done here, these particular buttons, and as you gray them out, also the executable programming commands that are associated with those buttons, they're non-executable as well, so they're disabled as well. So we'll go ahead now. That's just the way I got the program set up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select user interface builder page because that's the only selection available there, and I've got it set up that way so that it has to be done that way. So what I've got here is two choices on the screen. I've got start with new UI and continue with existing UI. The continue with existing UI, I'm going to demonstrate that very quickly at the very end of the video, but that's to if you can't finish a a certain user interface in one setting or two settings or whatever, you can go ahead and store the information and come back to it later. Obviously, you don't want to have to be forced to finish a user interface in one get-go. Start with new UI. That erases the memory chip completely. There's a 32 kilobyte memory chip. And I've got that information listed at the top of the program, what there is for equipment here. But yeah, you'll see that when you look at the software. So I'm going to go ahead and start with new UI. And it takes about 15 seconds to erase that 32 kilobyte memory chip. And once it's done, we'll go ahead and you can see now that this is basically my opening page here. The very first line here down at the bottom or near the bottom is use add or edit to continue. That's a in red there. That's a prompt instruction area, so you can send prompt messages or instruction messages at any time you want during the program. The next line down, size, offset, radius. These are updatable, updatable attributes to the drawing commands, which you'll see here in a few seconds. Add, edit, update, redraw. Those buttons will become apparent. Left, right, up, down. They'll become apparent as well. But EREC, FREC, so on and so on down there. There's 9 of them, and there's 9 drawing commands basically available with the program, and they show the basic. They're the different drawing commands, and they change as per what you're selecting at the very. Well, if you select, say, you select FARC, if you added like an FARC right now, you would have your bottom row. You got arc radius, arc start, arc degrees, because them are your attributes associated with a filled arc, which is FARC. So you can see now I'm going to go ahead, I'm moving that around the screen here with my arrows. And the reason I'm using these arrows is because I was having a little bit of difficulty with one program I was running, exactly placing things, drawing items exactly where I wanted them, and size them exactly where I wanted them. So I went ahead and I did it this way because you can fine tune this, right down to 0.1. And when you're doing 0.1 and you adjust something like an arc radius, I mean, it's barely noticeable on the screen, So just to be able to size and place items exactly where I wanted them. That's why I did it like that. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm gonna store this item. Well, let's make it a little bit bigger so we can actually see it. If I wanted to change the color, I could. Well, let me do that right now as well. Let me change the color to say gold. That's used by using the color button. Okay. And you have to use update now. You can see the message there, item attributes and store are active. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to store that. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do another one now. I'm going to go add a, say, a filled circle. And I'll move it up. Kind of get it out of the way here. I'll go ahead, I'm going to take the ink deck down. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to increase radius on that. I'm going to change the color as well. I'll change it to, say, to teal. Update it. Okay, now the fixed drawing command, the very first item I drew there, that fixed arc, none of the attributes, item attributes, the updatable attributes, whatever, they were not checked off, eh? As in that's a drawing command that's just got numbers, associated with it. And I'll show you that here right away. This one here, I'm going to say, okay, this is an arc. We want to have, well, let's see, we want to have our arc start. No, not arc start. This is a circle, so on this circle here, what we're going to have is say we'll have color changeable on the fly, and we'll have the radius changeable and updatable values there, eh? So we'll go ahead and store those, and then we'll jump over to generate files page, and I'll show that. This is a fixed drawing command. Okay, raw data. So you can see that now. Okay, again, this is a fixed drawing command. There's no where I'm touching the screen there now, there's just numbers in there like radius and start, angle, but you can put variables in there, of course, eh? And that's what the updatable drawing commands are doing now. So drawing circle. So there's your radius right there. It's your radius 2. That's your variable that goes with that particular drawing command now. All color 2, eh? And if you wanted to generate your variables, you go ahead and do that. Right, float sur radius 2, byte all color, yeah. So that's the difference between fixed drawing command and, the updatable drawing command. Generate touch zones, I just got that set up, so if you want to use any particular item that you draw, you can set up a generated touch zone for that particular item. Add offset, that's just to change your offset numbers, like your IDX numbers as you're going through the program, if you have, 200, 300, whatever, 800, 900. Now, the View 256 Colors page, that's something I put together to demonstrate, well, what the colors actually look like on your particular phone or tablet, what they look like on the screen. And I mean, it was taking a little bit of time to go back and, refer to the hard copy PDF file and see the colors. So I just decided to do up this little routine here, and it shows 256 colors. And there's many more available. You can refer to the pfod specification for how to change your colors and add more colors if you want. But for the purposes of this program, I just decided to stay with 256 colors. The View Items Numbers pages, I made that to to show that you got to have numbers associated with the items you draw. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to change the font, or the color font, and the font size on these. I don't know if you can see them now on your video, but there's color. There's number 1 there, and there's number 2, eh? So every time I draw, a drawing command there, a drawing item, I mean the number just increases, eh? I mean, you've got to have a way to know which one is, like, after you draw a dozen items or 20 or 30 or whatever, you've got to have a way to know which one's which, eh? So that if you want to go back and edit anything now, like say I wanted to go back and edit, drawing number 1, or let's make it drawing number 2. Let's go ahead and edit drawing 2. Drawing command 2, yeah. So say drawing type being edited as FSIR, so go ahead and select FSIR. And up pop the attributes as well that are associated, the updatable attributes that were associated with that particular command. Now you can also, you can clear those right now and say, well, I only want, I just want to have the offset for that particular circle as an updatable feature, and I could have that set as well right now. The other thing I can do is I can clear updatables, and I can also, editing an item is how you actually delete it as well, eh? So say I wanted to delete this item, I just go ahead and say delete, and it's gone. And I'll go ahead and store that. So now when I go back to view items numbers page, I mean, if I had 4 or 5 drawings, you'll actually see that number 2 is gone. I don't have a replacement number 2 in the drawings, or in the the next one I pull up is going to be number 3, so I just wrote the software that way to make it a little bit simpler. So what we'll do is we'll open up user interface builder page again. And I guess there's maybe one more thing I should show here, at least on these drawing commands here, is if I wanted to add a label, there's 2 types of labels available. There's a string label, which right here, updatable string, and there's updatable data label. Now the updatable string label is like, pressure, temperature, accelerometer, so on and so on. It's a word or whatever of a description of a certain variable that you're measuring or whatever, a temperature. The updatable data, that's actually the passing data into the command, and you'll see that right now. Let's go ahead and I want to go ahead and set the text here for 0.0. And I'll save that, update that. And you can see there that before it said you must use 0.0 to have a updatable data command. So I'll go ahead and I'll move that up here, and I'm going to actually make it larger here so you can actually see it. Let's change the font on this to 10. Update. Yep. Okay, so we'll make this an updatable data command. Right. Now you'll see that when we go ahead now and go back to, well, I'll store it first. We'll go back to generate files page. And generate fixed drawing, generate updatable drawings. And I guess we might as well do generate updatable variables. Raw data. Okay, so there's your fixed drawing right there, drawing arc, the very first one, like I said before. There's your drawing label, which is now number 3 because number 2 is erased and done away with. So it skips number 2 now. But value 3, that's a variable now that's passed into that command. And that's a data command, a numeric variable, value 3. Float value 3, a float value. Also now, I guess on this software, I should show you that if you want to save this information, this is very nifty here feature, but to save this information to a text file, we'll go ahead and we'll just name it, well, let's just name it, I don't know, UI 1. And we'll just go ahead and save. Now if we were to go ahead and look at our files here, UI 1. There it is, drawing arc, drawing label, float value. So that's a way of sending the information to to a text file, a text file which then can be used well, however you want to use it. So we'll get out of there and jump back out of here. And I guess the only other thing now we got to show is we'll go back to user interface builder page. The only other thing we got to show here, I guess, will be the when we first started the program would be continuing with existing UI. So let's go ahead and show that right now. I'll just pause the video and we'll get that up and running here and get it shown. Okay, so I paused the video there, and now I basically exited the program, and I got it restarted it again and got it set up so that we can show that would continue with existing UI. So if you can't, like I said before, if you can't finish it in one setting, you can go ahead and carry on as many times as you want. But to continue with existing UI, if I hit that one now, and there you go. There's the 2 items that we had had saved earlier, and they got sent to memory. So that's about it for this video. We'll see you on video 14. Thanks.